Hi, this is Neville J. Mackenzie, and I'm with the asiatechpodcast. And today my guest is Jane Wang, co-founder and CEO of Roceso Technologies.
Yeah, hello. Thank you very much for having me here.
Hi, Jane. Can you just introduce yourself?
Hello, listeners of ATP. I'm Jane. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Roceso Technologies. I'm a Singaporean, but I was actually born in China. I came to Singapore about 15 years ago to study engineering under a government scholarship. Considered as a foreign talent or whatever you call it. For the past 15 years, I have been basically localized. I'm basically a Singaporean. I love Singaporean food and so on. I studied robotics in my study, and after my graduation, I have been working in multinational corporations for different roles, such as human resources, sales, consulting. And later on, I went back to school to study my master's, and that's how I met my co-founders. And that's how I got exposed to soft robotics. And then I just started my current company together with my partners.
Okay, you mentioned that you studied robotics at university,
Yeah.
but your early roles were away from robotics. Why was that?
Oh wow, it's a long story. Because during the time that I graduated, there was not so much opportunities in Singapore, about robotics, and also because of my scholarship, I have to work in Singapore for 6 years. So there's no way for me to really go away to other countries to do robotic stuff, and also because I was always interested in trying business roles. I actually did my business minors and entrepreneurship minor in my study beside my robotics study. So I was thinking, why not just join a high-tech company? Anyway, it's related to my tech background, and do something else. So that's how I joined high-tech companies and joined into human resources to study personality and psychology related functions. Yeah, but that helps a lot in my current job actually, because with the combination of business roles and as well as engineering knowledge, actually it's really helpful for me to manage a startup.
So would you say that you mentioned that it's helped you in your present role as a CEO?
Yeah.
Would you recommend somebody to go straight from university to a startup, or would you say that they should do what you've done and get some experience under their belts first?
Okay, wow, this is a very tough question. It's really up to you. To be honest, I have benefited a lot during my corporate experiences in big corporations. I have good mentors who have great experiences in the past. So I have to say that I learned a lot in multinational corporations. But however, if you join a startup, if you have a great boss who have past experiences, who can mentor you, at the same time, he can trust you to give you a lot of responsibilities and give you different roles, different responsibilities to try out. I don't think it's a bad idea. It's really case by case, in my opinion. So I won't say that joining a startup in the first role is bad. It really depends on which startup you are joining and who is the boss and who is managing you and what is the team, who are the team members. Yes.
So you think mentorship can replace that experience?
Yes, I believe so. The right mentors are very important.
Okay, good. So what problem are you trying to solve with your company?
Okay, the first product we have is called ISO Glove, which is a soft robotic glove to help stroke patients recover. So basically, we use the exoskeleton hand to help stroke patients to do rehabilitation. So the problem we are trying to solve is we have talked to a lot of doctors. So they have mentioned that due to the increasing number of patients, so they don't have enough therapists to do rehabilitation for so many patients. They need to have robotic solutions to improve productivity. However, in the market, most of the robotic hand rehabilitation devices are very bulky, very expensive, and basically have limited functions. So that's why we realized, okay, our technology actually can be used very well to fill the gap. because soft robotics can be, very comfortable, wearable, and also we can use pneumatical control to, create different functions for patients. So basically, it's a very affordable way and also portable way of doing rehabilitation. Yeah, so that's the problem that we are trying to solve, basically to improve productivity for hospitals, clinics, and also to help patients recover faster.
So would it be something that they use in the hospital, or is it something that they can also use at home?
Yes, both. Yeah, the benefit of soft robotics devices is lightweight, portability. So that means actually you can just continue your therapy after hospital treatment. So this will help patients to recover faster due to the increased intensity of training. At the same time, so basically patients don't have to go back to hospital frequently, and also reduce burden for the caregivers.
How big is the industry in this case?
Okay, so if you look at rehabilitation equipment industry is around 10 billion US dollar, and it's growing very rapidly due to the aging population and so on. So for the upper limb, so rehabilitation is at least half of the industry, so at least 5 billion US dollar.
When you say upper limb, you mean the arm?
Yeah, the arm, shoulder, and hand, of course, yeah.
So you originally did robotics at university, then you stopped for a while. So what drove you to go back to robotics?
Okay, it's always my passion, right? This is always the reason that I chose this as my major in the first place. I love physics, I love mathematics. So that's why I look at it. The economy is getting better. The financial crisis was gone. So I was thinking, okay, I have to go back to really do some technical stuff. And all along, I am dreaming to be an entrepreneur. And I don't want to just start any business. What I want to do is really, technical related business, and also something with a social mission. So that's why I was thinking, okay, it's time to go back to school and to study something about technology management, intellectual property management, and maybe I can find something that I'm really passionate about. That's why I went back to school. Yeah.
So what do you think has changed in Singapore in recent times that has brought the robotics to the forefront?
Okay, Singapore, basically our economic structure has been transforming. And we have to, so we have no choice. So if you look at other countries, it's actually also going through a lot of changes. So in the past, we have been mainly focusing on manufacturing, sales and marketing, and so on. But recently, the government has been really, really supportive into supporting technology startups, creating homegrown technology brands. So that's really a good opportunity because of the government support and grants. And also we realize a lot of youngsters, they are now very passionate about startups and also technology. So due to various factors, we see more and more young people coming into engineering compared to in the past during my time. So it's so difficult to persuade someone intelligent, to join engineering in Singapore. Many people were basically pushed by parents to study law, to study medicine, or finance, business, because those jobs are paying better. So, but now I have seen the changes of the trend. So we have been receiving resumes from very young fresh graduates or undergrads. So they are really passionate. They know what they want. They think, okay, in Singapore there might be a future for robotics. So that's really something. I feel very motivated. This is very positive for all the startups, and especially technology startups in Singapore.
So what kind of person would you be looking for to join your startup? Okay,
startups. To be honest, you have to do a lot of things. You have to be very hands-on. You have to be really willing to learn and can learn fast. So to me, one, of course, is passion. Someone really interested in what we are doing.
How do you recognize whether somebody has a passion?
Okay, so based on my human resources experience, I have done a lot of interviews. So we do a lot of very deep level conversations about the motivations of someone. So I have been talking to a lot of people who have basically worked in maybe involuntary positions in hospitals, who are really interested in the healthcare industry, or someone who have families or friends who had stroke before, or had disabilities. So there are a lot of personal reasons behind, and it's obviously when you talk to them, you can see the sparks in their eyes. Yeah, so it's pretty obvious to identify this kind of talents. Of course, talking about passion is not only about passion into healthcare. It's also passion about technology, passion about robotics, passion about soft robotics, maybe. Yeah. So basically, I do a lot of in-depth conversations with these people and try to understand what is the motivation behind. Yes.
Okay. So can you just tell us what the interview process would be at Roceso Technologies?
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
if I gave you my CV now and said I'm interested in working for you, what would you put me through?
Okay, so it's basically pretty simple. We are not big companies, right? We don't want to go to an assessment center, just with a three-person management team. So basically, if let's say it's a technical position, of course, my CTO will be the one probably assess the technical skills first, and then later on will be going to me. Basically, for me, I will build a kind of a capability model. Which basically is what I learned from my previous jobs. So I have created certain values, certain capabilities that I'm looking for, from these candidates. So I have a certain structure to assess based on different categories that I want to assess. So basically, it's pretty much behavioral, personality-based interviews. So experience can be important, but to be honest, I'm more looking into the personalities and the motivations, and also the overall balance of the person, and what is the potential for this person to grow together with us. So because for startups, we can grow very fast. So today you join as an engineer, maybe next year you might be a team leader, or you might be in a totally different role. So it's really very flexible kind of judgment based on the models. Yeah.
So what kind of personality would you look for?
You cannot just find the same kind of person in a company. For a team, you have to look for diversity. So nowadays, we all talk about diversity, right? So most people are talking about gender diversity, or racial diversity. This is the most of the topics we are talking about when we talk about diversity. But for me, it's not only that. Yeah, it's important to hire different nationality, different cultures, different genders, but it's also important to look at different personalities and also different motivations. Yeah, some people are motivated by money, some people are motivated by rewards. So this kind of people can be a good salesperson probably, and some people are motivated by helping people, and then they can be a very good customer-facing service person, and or just perfectly very perfect for our industry, healthcare related. So for me, it's basically build a team with different kind of capabilities together, and so that you can be complement to one another. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
So you're the CEO of the company. I think we've got a slide here where we can show your
yes.
team. And if you want to just describe your team to us and what their roles are.
Okay. Yes.
I think we've got, there.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, as the CEO, how would your team fit together? Yeah.
Okay, so here you can see the first person is our chairman. Basically, he's also our investor. So he put in the early stage investment into us. So basically, Mr. Newcoping is a very experienced entrepreneur. So he founded a company called AWEC, which is a portable kidney dialysis machine company, a class 3 medical devices company. So he's very experienced in medical devices industry, as well as the whole entrepreneurship journey. He's also teaching business entrepreneurship in US. So basically, he's a very good mentor for us. And myself, CEO, I believe you should know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and our listeners as well. Yeah.
Yes, and my CTO, he's basically a very strong technical person. So he did his PhD in biomedical engineering. So the fundamental technology that we are using, or we are developing or commercializing, it was actually invented by him. So he's a very critical person in the team. Even though I was trained as a robotics engineer, but we do need the technical expert in the subject matter to join the team. And then we have our scientific advisor, Dr. Ray Yao, who is the assistant professor in US. So he's basically the one who is managing the soft robotic lab in Singapore, in US. So this lab we can say, is a pioneer in the whole Asia for soft robotic study. So the next one, the very strong soft robotic lab probably is the Harvard University lab. So basically, he's the one who is working together with us very closely in the long-term research R&D. So in his lab, he's not only doing glove, he's also doing robotics devices for different body parts. And he has a big team, maybe 20 to 30 scientists, researchers, project officers, who are doing long-term research. So when there is interesting technologies, we are the one who license out and commercialize and do the translation. Yeah. So basically, we are partners. Of course, to do medical device, you need to have a doctor in the team. Yeah. So Dr. Lin Junhun from NUH is a very strong neuro rehab expert. So he's the one who is doing clinical trials with us, giving us advices in certain product design, whether the feature is right, what are the things that we are missing out. Yeah, so he's our clinical advisor. Then we hired our first employee, Jezreel, last year. So he joined us as our head of QARA. So this is a very critical role for any medical devices companies because safety, quality is so important. We don't want to injure any patients with our robotic devices. So Jezreel brought in his more than 10 years experience in medical devices quality and more than 6 years experience in regulation affairs, helping us going through audit and certification very smoothly. Yes. So basically, all these are the if you look at experiences, backgrounds, these are the combinations. And then, of course, talking about the team personalities is a very how do I say? The team works very well together. So in terms of personalities, I think we are matching each other pretty well. So far, we can make decisions pretty relatively easily. We do have a lot of discussions, but there's no serious fight or anything. It's pretty much a very good teamwork so far.
And you were founded in February 2016?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did you how did you start the company?
Yes.
You mentioned that your chairman is the investor.
Yes.
Yeah. Was there any other money that was involved, or did you self-fund in any way?
Oh yes, of course. We started with our own money actually. In 2016, actually, that time there's no investors. So basically we met in the school. During one of my module, during my master's study.
Did you study together?
Kind of, yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
Oh,
kind
okay.
of, yes. In US, they have this very interesting module. They have a lot of interesting entrepreneurship modules. So one module is called Tech Launch. So basically, they are encouraging all the PhDs, bringing interesting technologies into classroom. So students from different master programs will join together, and then we can, work together to see, what is the best way to commercialize certain technology. And some technologies are very raw. So basically, you have to think about all kind of alternatives to commercialize it. So that's how I met my CTO. And so he brought the very early stage prototype of our device into the classroom. I fell in love with it. I think, oh my God, this is so amazing. Even though it's so early stage, it's totally different from what we are trying to sell now. But I could see the potential. So I basically strongly volunteered myself into the team and say, okay, I have to do this. And that's how we started. After 6 months of commercialization project, so two of us decided, okay, I think there is a potential. Let's go to meet the professor. So three of us started the company together with our own money.
Yeah.
So we put in open bank account, put in the money, and license the technology, and then slowly started to develop and do all the preparation work until I quit my job and try to find investors. Yeah.
Were you graded on the fact that you started up on the course? Because I recently heard somebody told me that at one of the top universities in the US that students were graded by how much profit they made on the business they started during the course. That was actually,
no way. For
Yeah.
medical devices, you take years
Yeah.
to get profit. So not really. It's more about the whole overall commercialization plan, business models, and the pitch. We did the final pitch to put fake investors. Yes. So that's how we were graded. Yeah.
So in that time, from the start to now, what has been your biggest challenge?
A lot of challenges. One big challenge is how to translate university technologies to commercializable products, especially medical robotic devices.
How does that represent itself?
Okay, first of all, technology-wise, the initial prototype is not really suitable for mass production. So we have to made a lot of changes in the design itself, and try to talk to industrial experts and see how we can manufacture it, actually. Then we have to design our own machine because it's so new. Nobody have done it before, so we have to design our own equipment, manufacturing jigs to manufacture our technology. So that's took us quite a long time to figure out, how to do it. And the other thing is we realized the initial prototype are lacking a lot of important features. So that's why that's the importance of doing validation interviews. So we talk to doctors, the potential customers, and then after getting feedbacks from the customers, we realize, oh my God, the initial prototypes may not be suitable or may not be really helping the patients to the maximum, effect. So that's why we redesigned the whole product and eventually come out the new design of the current device that we are trying to sell. Yes. So yeah, a lot of challenges, a lot of changes, a lot of learning. Yes.
So what characteristic do you think you as a CEO have brought to the company? What do you think your strong point?
Okay, my strong point, I think one is action taking. I'm able to make decisions pretty fast, but of course you have to also think about different factors that may influence your decision making or the result of your decision making. So I'm not afraid of that. So I think that's very important because not everybody is able to make a decision fast or even make a decision. So I think decision making is one thing. And the other thing is really the learning agility because you have to do everything by yourself. It's a very small team. So at the beginning, we have to learn everything. We have to be very humble, try to ask questions, try to be foolish, and just learn as much as possible like a sponge.
When you say foolish, what do you mean by foolish?
You cannot say that I'm a startup founder, I know everything. You have to be very honest and tell people that actually I don't know this, I need to learn, please teach me. Yes. So this is what you have to do.
So can you give us an example of a decision that you made quickly and well, as opposed, and then talk us through how you made that decision?
Wow. Okay. A lot of decisions have been made. I think one of the decisions is there are a lot of directions initially. Which direction we should go with the technology. That's a very, very early stage decision. So with the soft robotic technology, we can go to industrial automation actually, and the other option is medical exoskeleton rehabilitation. So we had a lot of debates on which industry we should go in. So eventually we made a decision to go to the medical direction. So it's quite tough because we had no idea about medical devices development that time, how tough it is. But after a lot of analysis based on the market opportunities, market gap, and market barriers in different industries, and also competitors analysis, so eventually we quickly made a choice. Healthcare is something that we want to do. Of course, this is also because of the personal passion, which may drive us for a long time, which is very important. If you are not passionate about certain industries, there's no way for you to really be happy working there for long term. Yeah, so that's why eventually, very quickly we decided, okay, let's go for this. There is really a future over there. And of course, later on, we have to choose in healthcare industry with this technology. We can do rehabilitation. We also can do assistive. And which one should we go? So eventually, we decided to go for B2B direction first, rehabilitation. That's partially because, for personally, I think to be able to sell the device to B2C market to patients, you have to establish a strong branding together with the doctors. Yeah, with healthcare institutes. So that's why we decided to go for B2B first, building a hospital-based devices first, and slowly moving into B2C. Yes, that's all the decision making that we have made. Yeah.
So when you look forward into the future, where do you see the company going at the moment? Is it a localized company, or are you aiming for the worldwide
yes,
market?
We are definitely aiming for the world. Singapore is basically a very, very good test point, but the market is really small. So of course, as a Singaporean-born startup, right at the beginning, you are looking at the whole world. Of course, there's no way for you to conquer the whole world. So you have to do a lot of market analysis and decide who are your first initial markets. So basically, we are going to get FDA registration very soon in November. So we are going to US market first. So we also have plan in Europe. So we are going to register CE mark very, very soon. So we are going to get the CE mark, which is a regulation approval that you have to get to be able to sell any medical device in European market. So we are going to get the approval by next year, July. So in China, we also have planned to set up offices, subsidiaries over there, and to fulfill the regulation requirements. So right now, I'm actually preparing for that. We have been following up on China regulation changes. So there are a lot of changes right now going on with the FDA. So personally, I have been traveling a lot to China.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. If you're doing USA, Europe, and China, that would require you to be there physically?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, definitely. But of course, I have to really plan my time properly. Europe will be a little bit later, so initially focus will be definitely US. China is more for preparation for the regulation approval, which may take at least 1.5 years. So yeah, definitely US market is the initial market for us. Yeah.
And when you look at these markets, do you think that you will be you may have to move your company abroad, or do you think you'll always remain here in Singapore?
Yeah, that's a very tough question, especially nowadays with all the investment interest in China. So a lot of investors will be asking you, are you interested in, moving to China to set up your office or not? Actually, to be honest, we will remain as a Singaporean company. So the headquarters will be in Singapore. Due to different reasons, stability and strong government support and so on. However, we are going to set up certain offices in other countries for such as manufacturing or just local sales office. Yes. So yeah, Singapore will be the headquarters.
Yeah. And are you recruiting at the moment?
We might be recruiting after 1 month or 2 months. Yes, we are now actually trying to raise a pre-A round. So after this fundraising round, we are going to recruit sales and marketing experts and also R&D talents. Yeah. So
you said you're going for another round of pre-A round?
Yeah, pre-A round.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what does that involve?
Okay, right now we are talking to some investors. Yes, there are a few serious investors who are basically talking to us right now. So we might be closing soon, but it's still in the discussion process. Yes. So so right now, to be honest, we are still pretty healthy in terms of cash flow, but to be able to be very no worry about cash, and so that we can really focus on what we are doing right now. So that's why we started a little bit early, But anyway, I
think it's better to start early than late.
Exactly. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, you have to always talk to investors and try to make sure that your cash flow is healthy. Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
So far so good. So we are very proud to be, the first soft robotic company in Singapore and also a pioneer in Asia. Hopefully, we can be a very good example, for the future startups. So if there is any interested investors, who wants to talk to us, you can always find me through LinkedIn or my company website.
Can you just give the link?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just.
My company website, okay, maybe just my company email, you can just send to info@roceso.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just connect me through LinkedIn. It's very easy. But my link is very long, so I don't remember the link.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah. I think where we put in show notes, there'll be links in the show notes.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
So,
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Jane Wang.
Yeah.
And we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.